हाँ 5:10 से स्टार्ट करना था तो 5:09 हो रहा है, तुम रिकॉर्डिंग अभी से स्टार्ट कर दो।
हाँ जी भैया, कर दिया मैंने।
ऑल राइट,
चालू कर
ऑल
दूं?
राइट। अच्छा हाँ,
जी,
तुम्हें
सर।
इंट्रोड्यूस करना है ना? श्योर श्योर श्योर, स्टार्ट करो तुम, मैं बीच में आता हूँ, मतलब तुम्हारे बाद आता हूँ।
हाँ। Good evening, everyone. I am Divyansh Gupta from Engineering Physics Part 1. I welcome you all to the another session of Skill Bootcamp being conducted by the Skill Development Team SCS. The agenda for the workshop is getting started with no code. Today we have Mr. Harshit Krishna Chaudhary with us, a final year student of IIT BHU and one of the most inspiring seniors of our college. He is a no-code consultant and is well versed in the world of no-code. Currently, he is the co-founder of Telu Club, regarding which you must have heard recently. Harshit Bhaiya, the mic is all yours.
Thank you, thank you. Sure. So I'll not waste much of my time in discussing about myself. If you want, we can discuss that in the AMA session, which will happen after this presentation. So the whole session will look like I'll give this presentation. It has many fun elements embedded in it. And after the presentation, we will have unlimited time AMA if you want. Like I will answer all your doubts, all your discussions uh, until you get satisfied, right? So this is the rough idea of what this session is going to look like. And as you have already seen the posters and you have already checked the mail and the messages, this session is all about getting started with no code. And more on that later. First, we should know what no code actually is. So major part of this session, we will be discussing the philosophy of no code. And then at the end of the session, I'll give you some tips on how you can get started with this recent development, right? Cool. With that, let's get started. And this is harshit.page is my URL. You can go there, check out my works, and contact me there. And if you want to give any feedbacks or connect for any projects or initiatives, you can send me a mail at this email address, and I'll respond to that almost immediately. All right. Next, can you see my screen? No. No. Let me share that again. I think it's not
Screen is
working. Right?
visible.
The next slide was not working, right? No problem.
Next slide is visible.
Understood. I'll share that again. Share content, Windows. Let me just check. Visible, right? No.
No, it's visible.
All right. Just one second. भाई ये फुल स्क्रीन में चला गया.
अभी आप नहीं दिख रहे, खाली यही दिख रहा है.
हाँ वो हो रहा है. लाइक मेरे को एक बार प्रेजेंटर व्यू से हटाना, मैं स्लाइड की लिंक दे देता हूँ एंड तुम उसे कंट्रोल कर लो, राइट? दैट विल बी बेटर.
ठीक है. तो आपको प्रेजेंटर से हटाना है क्या?
हाँ मेरे को, और ये स्क्रीन शेयर भी हटा दो.
ठीक. आप मेरे को लिंक दे सकते.
ऑल राइट. या एक बार और ट्राई कर देते हैं, ठीक है?
ठीक.
कोई नहीं. नो वरीज फोक्स, छोटी छोटी दिक्कतें होते रहती है बड़ी बड़ी सेशंस में. नहीं रिकॉर्डिंग तो स्टार्टेड ही रहेगी.
मैं आपको वापस प्रेजेंटर बना दूँ?
यस, मैं बन गया. Cool. Let me share that screen again. Before that, let me just start from beginning. And now let me just go and share my screen. Right. If it is visible now, just let me know.
It is visible.
एक मिनट है ना. It will take a few moments, right? तुम्हें कौन सा स्क्रीन विजिबल हो रहा है ये बताओ, लाइक स्पीकर नोट्स
पूरा
वाले
स्क्रीन
या
नहीं, स्पीकर नोट्स नहीं।
स्पीकर नोट्स नहीं हो रहे, राइट? चलो ठीक है, यहाँ से स्टार्ट करते हैं। श्योर, सो लेट्स सी। स्क्रीन विजिबल होनी चाहिए, फुल स्क्रीन नहीं है ये शायद। इस जूम में भी यही प्रॉब्लम हो रही थी, जब भी मैं फुल स्क्रीन में जाता हूँ तो स्पीकर नोट्स गायब हो जाते हैं। स्पीकर नोट्स अभी विजिबल है क्या स्क्रीन में?
नहीं नहीं नहीं।
No, it's good. All right, let's get started. So yeah, you can contact me on this email address. I'll respond almost instantly. And if you have any suggestions or message, you can share with me on this email itself. And you can check out my works at this URL. Right. Let's see. Let's see what this session brings to you and how much you get value out of this session. Right. Next, basically, with no code tool you can build anything, and this is the purpose of this particular session. What I want you to go with after this session is that there is no restrictions on what no code tools gives you to build, right? uh, Very advanced stuffs like web3 applications, which is called dapps or decentralized applications, is can be built using no code tools. You can build algo trading applications. If you are a user of Zerodha or stock trading, you know what trading is, and you can put algorithm behind that, and it will perform transaction based on that algorithm. And this whole system you can build with no code tools. Even you can do quantum computing using no code tools, and more on that later. Right? Stay tuned. So I guess all of you are excited about no-code tools, but the excitement is very limited. Of it has a very binary view of seeing like either you are a developer who writes program, or you are not a developer and you do visual programming, right? So visual programming is being associated with no code tool in a very high degree of relation, but that is not the case. Only visual programming is not no code tool or no code in general. And if you are, you can imagine yourself being a mini CEO, or you being an entrepreneur, being a builder. That is what no code offers to you. And this is the mindset which you need to cultivate once you enter this field arena of no code development and no code tools and no code building, etc. Right? Now, what is happening? I'll just take you back, zoom out from what we are discussing today, and I'll just take you to a journey of what humankind have been through in all of its ages. Right? We have already seen decentralization of access in various formats across various timelines, across various geographies, right? Decentralization of access means from the resources are with the resourceful people. It may be with the kings, or maybe with the rulers, or maybe with the administrative circles. And then there are some technologies which gives the access to these resources to masses, right? With this decentralization, there comes democratization of value creation, right? uh, you can for the decentralization example, we can imagine a simplest of object like sofa, or nice clothes, shiny dresses, refrigerators, which we have in our homes. If you look at the history of humankind, these these devices, or the objects which provide the benefits of these kind of devices, were not accessible to the masses. They were accessible only to a certain class of people, only to the resourceful people. But with the development of manufacturing, with the development of certain other technologies and businesses, those things became decentralized. It became available to everyone, right? It happened throughout the stages of human history. And with that comes democratization. Like everyone gets the opportunity to build things, right? You have seen this in social media in recent ages, right? In the legacy media, only few media houses control what we absorb and what we read. But with the advent of social media, with the social media coming into pictures, uh, everyone in its own his or own self can create content, can share content, and can consume content of other content creators, not necessarily what is given by the legacy media, right? And that is the concept of democratization. We have the power to create and distribute whatever value we like, right? We are seeing some form of that in crypto assets, though that is debatable, but it is challenging the traditional fiat currencies that we can ensure trust even without any central organization giving that trust, right? And we are seeing rise of cryptocurrencies and all the Web3 applications, right? Another major technology which I want to point out is 3D printing, right? It is democratizing the way we build physical objects. There are manufacturing units of different kinds available only to resourceful people, and they build things and distribute it in the market. With 3D printing becoming more and more available and affordable, people can design and build their own stuff, right? And this is the process of which the humankind is going through, right? And no code has the power to decentralize access to tools and democratize value creation. The third thing is deformation of legacy approach. Now, there are many legacy approach in every dimension of things, or every dimension of field we are living, right? We are having legacy approach on career, in which we have placement cells, we have colleges, we have MBA degrees, etc. We get the degrees, we get the placements, and we work for any XYZ company, right? But that legacy approach is being challenged by creators economy. Creators build what they find their interest in, what they are passionate about, what their hobby is, and based on their hobby, they create their own economy encircling their hobby, and they are successful in their career, right? So no code basically gives you the power to do all of these three things, right? And no code is not just visual programming of what you say is what you get type of screen, a flowchart based approach to programming. It is much more than that. And we'll discuss all of this in the coming slides. So I have done quite a bit of Gyanbazi here, and let's get started and let's get to know what actually no code means, right? First of all, there is no standard definition of no code. And what I'm sharing in this whole content of slides is my experience and my understanding of what no code is. Right. For me, no code is nothing but an abstraction which gets things done and lets us experiment. Right. That is what I understand of no code. Right. And what is abstraction? Abstraction is a programming concept. Yes. Am I audible? Sure. Am I audible?
Javier,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
audible.
Sure. So abstraction is a programming concept, which basically means to hide the background details and give the user, in this case programmer, only the necessary things which he needs to get his job done. Right. That is the meaning of abstraction, and no code does just that. Right. In no code website, when you create a no code website, you need not deal with all the networking problems and the syntax, etc. You just need to place the elements in the canvas and your website gets created, right? uh, and most of the no code tools works that way. The second part is getting things done, right? Most of the no code tools are used to build MVPs, right? Minimum viable product. uh, and the idea behind that is to get things done, a particular job done. Let's say you want to create a message board which responds hi every morning to in your family chat group, right? And you create just that. You need not know what the background of that algorithm, how the background of that algorithm works, etc. Right? And this concept is nothing new. It is very much used in programming world, and that is called abstraction. And the second concept is getting things done, which is very much used in the business world. You need not know all the processes of the business to get your product to the table. You just need to know certain things to build your product, and that is basically what no code is trying to achieve. Right? With no code you are trying to achieve. And the third thing is experimentation. No code gives you the power to experiment very fast, right? With no code you can build something very fast, test what works and what does not work, and then iterate over and do necessary changes which is viable for your project or business, etc. Right? This is my understanding of no code, right? And with this understanding of no code, you need not associate no code with only programming, right? You can also see that this no code can be associated with any other type of work as well, right? For me, Canva is also a no code because I need to, if I'm not using Canva, I need to go to Adobe and I need to sign up for Photoshop and Illustrator, and need to design things which have a very steep learning curve. I need to understand many components before I start using Photoshop, right? And then I can come up with a design. What Canva, here Canva comes into the picture and abstracts all the things which I need to do in design, right? And give me the elements to just build what I need, get things done. In that case, my job is to create a poster, let's say, for example, or create a thumbnail for YouTube, right? And Canva comes into the picture, abstracts all the background things which I need to know, and then help me designing that poster, right? So Canva for me is also a no-code tool. There are many emerging tools which are in the market which challenge the legacy tools like Canva or Premiere Pro for video editing. There is Clipchamp which does the basic job done for video editing. So here I would like to call out that if you are going for advanced stuff, right? It is not that no code cannot scale like that. That is a very great fallacy that if you are building things with no code, it will only be viable in the MVP stage itself. You can scale with no code, but there cannot be much flexibility there because no code essentially binds you to certain constraints, and you have to live within that constraint. So if you want to break that constraint, you need to go to switch to a code base and build stuff your own way, right? But for most of us, and for 99% of the work cases, we are fine with what the no-code tools offer, right? That is the key takeaway from here. And from now, you can become a no-coder, right? You can rule the world with no-code. It is very, very simple, but it is not easy. And that is what we are going to talk about next. But before that, let me give you some statistics about no-code market, right? This data is taken from Statista. You can check that out anytime you like. So no code creates jobs, it creates agencies, and it is creating freelancers, right? No code job. There are many. If you go to LinkedIn and search for no code bubble developer, there will be many postings coming up that they need to hire bubble developer. There are many agencies now which work as no code providers. There are many freelancers which are coming into play and giving their consultancy, etc. Like, right? For me, one of my friend in my hometown has a restaurant, right? And he needs his restaurant website up. I created his website in a very less span of time and almost nil price, right? Using no code tools. So that kind of consultancy can be availed by various no code freelancers which are available in the market, right? And if you become skilled in no code, you can offer those consultancy and make some give some value and get some benefit out of it, right? All right. So the second report was that out of all the uh, uh, what can you say, like of the all the Fortune 500 companies, 60% reported that when they switched from their legacy code base to no code tools, they reported 60% of them reported an increase in their revenue, right? And there is currently for like no there is a projection of 47 billion US dollar market for low code developing code base, right? This is some of the market stats to get you excited about what no code offers and what no code can offer if you're thinking no code from a business sense, right? So no maybe from next time Shark Tank can have some of the even some of the sharks with which are specialized in no code and their products are in no code, right? You can check out many Indian companies as well, especially in the Chennai and Bangalore region, more in the Chennai region. There are many no-code companies coming up. They call SaaS products, right? And you can also create SaaS products using no-code tools. So that is very great uh, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So what I'm trying to say is you can create tools, no code tools using no code tools. So Bubble is creating just that. We'll talk about that later. So why no code? First thing, uh, you know, very less of your budget will go if you start usually cultivate the habit of using no code tool. Even if you are a programmer, by using no code you will save a lot of time. You do not need, like, almost all the no code are free. One second. Hi, can you hear me? Almost all the no code offer freemium services, right? So you can use that for free. And tools like Notion and Canva can be used for indefinite amount of time for indefinite use cases with no cost, right? And it will save you a lot of energy, right? um so let's say I was designing a website, right? And then like it has many of my cognitive effort needs to go to learn any new programming language, and then fix things if the things get erupted, and then push that changes to GitHub, and then publish that changes to a website. And if there is some error, then I have to go to that process again, etc. So apart from time and money, most of my energy gets lost, right? And you have only a limited budget of all those three components: time, money, and energy. So no code will help you save on these three fronts. Apart from that, it will help you fail fast and learn faster. Most of the time, it's called we have a bias that when we create something, let's say you create a product or you create a project, right, a side hustle, etc., and you have devoted much of your time and energy to it and maybe money to it, you will have a bias that what you have created will work all the time. But that most of the time is not true. And with no code you can test that theory faster, right? You can fail fast and learn faster. And this is one of the what I use no code for, and why I am interested in no code space is I can tinker with everything interesting. I can tinker with algorithmic trading, I can tinker with web3 applications, I can tinker with quantum computing, I can tinker with almost every emerging technologies which I find interesting. And just I can tinker with it and learn those technologies, build a few hello world kind of application with it, and I enjoy doing that. So that is my reason of why I like no code so much, right? With that, let's do it. And yes, one second. So cool. Now I'll share with you some of the basic websites, sorry, the basic tenants from where you can learn no code. And this session is not about a step-by-step guidance on how to build things with no code. It is a session of getting started with no code. It is session to get you excited with what no code offers, right? So if you're trying to create websites, there are plenty of options, right? And we will discuss about how you can go about in selecting the best one for you. But you need to remember that there are philanthropy of offerings of no code websites or any other no code tool available. And it changes from in every other week we have, if you follow product hunt, every single day there is some new tools coming up for building website, for doing simple stuff, right? So there are many websites you can build using no codes. There are message bots you can build using no codes. And just for fun fact, you can use these projects in your professional life and show it to the recruiter or the interviewer. My personal interview in the placement was like the first interview, the first round, 50% of that was gone discussing the no code project which I have done in my free time, right? So that's that. And third thing is automation tool. So in most of us day-to-day life, we need some of the automation work to be performed daily, repetitively. And with that comes the automation tool. Let's say, for example, you want to collect whatever post you are sharing in social media. Let's say you are trying to write consistently in LinkedIn and you want to create a database out of it, right? You can use automation tool to like set that like whenever you post in on LinkedIn, copy that content and push that in maybe Google Sheets, and you can just organize that in the first go. And from again, whenever you do that, it will be automated, right? Those kind of simple things you can do, and I recommend and I encourage you trying these small bits first, and then you will understand how no code actually works, and then you can create more robust big application with your ideas, right? I want to talk about no-code landscape now. So this was first thing, the fundamentals, the visual programming aspect, where you get only one job, one kind of job done. Static website, auto message bot, single function IFTTT. IFTTT is an application which stand for if this then that. So let's say if you are building a smart home and you have that Alexa, and you give the IFTTT command, like whenever you will open the computer, turn off the light, right? So that kind of simple single function operations you can do using the fundamental no code tools. And fundamental no code tools are basically in a freemium model, and most of the part are free, and you can use it for indefinite time and indefinite use cases. Then there comes advanced tools, which gives you multiple stack of profiles which can used cohesively in your project. For example, a dynamic website like WordPress, in which you can publish a single page website itself, and then you can also create a blog, right? Am I audible? एक मेरे को अपनी आवाज दोबारा सुनाई दे रही थी. So just give a thumbs up if it's all okay. सही है? कुछ दिक्कत है क्या?
नहीं भैया सही है.
Cool.
वो किसी
So
का mic
then
on
there
है.
is हाँ chill है. So then there is fundamental stacks which gives only one feature or one kind of feature in your portfolio or your project, right? Second type of tools are advanced tools, right? Which gives you multiple features packed in one package, right? Here the examples will be WordPress, Webflow, etc., which lets you create dynamic websites. Notion, let's say Airtable. Airtable also is a very simple stack, and you can create only database out of it, and those kind of things, right? And the third kind of thing, which I am very much interested in, is emerging IR 4.0 technologies, right? IR 4.0 is Industry Revolution 4.0 technologies, and these promise revolution like algorithmic trading, like SaaS applications, like Web3 decentralized applications, like machine learning applications, and quantum computing applications using no-code tools, right? So this has to be done gradually. You cannot jump in and directly build Web3 applications using no-code tools. First, you need to understand how static website is created, how automations are done, how auto message bot works, and then once you do simple kind of project there, you do some tinkering there, then you jump to advanced multi-stack no-code tools. And there are no different, like this is my vocabulary how I define things in no-code landscape. So you need to understand, like you need to self analyze that this no code tool is a multi-stack and advanced tool. And once you are comfortable with using the advanced tool, then you jump into the emerging technologies no code tool, right? Some of the examples. And sorry, if you have any doubt, any thing you want me to repeat, just pause me and we'll discuss. Cool. With that, Mm, we have already seen automation tools, SaaS applications. So SaaS applications are basically very interesting things, and this is not in a particular order. I have just put this in the slide because I find it interesting. No particular like sequence that you should try learning this in this particular sequence. SaaS applications are basically software as a service. So you can like we have already used many of these SaaS application. Let me give you some examples. So let's say you are building from Google Sheets, you are building a dashboard which you can share it with others. So that dashboard essentially work as a software, and you have used Google Sheet to create that software. So in a very crude fashion, you have built a software using a software. So Google Sheets in this case is software as a service, and your service is that dashboard, right? So there are some advanced services which you can create using no code tools. And essentially what you do is visually build that service, and you send that service to any specific user, and that user use that internal tool which you have built for him or her, right? So that is SaaS application. It is very interesting that no code has this power to create other no code tools. So that's that. Another is algorithmic trading. This is the screenshot of Streak. That was the screenshot of Bubble, right? Bubble is a leader in the SaaS application building space. Streak. This is when you go to Zerodha's website under products section. This is one of the products which Zerodha lists. I don't know if it is acquired by Zerodha or not acquired, but it uses Zerodha in background. So what it actually does is, like, let's say you have some strategy for trading, right? You have strategies that agar ye stock, if it will drop down by 5%, I'll buy it, and if it goes up by 10%, I'll sell it. And you deploy that strategy in this streak, and it executes that strategy even if you are sleeping, right? So that is algorithmic trading, and that you can do with this particular no code tool. Streak is a no code tool here, right? Web3 application. So this is a very recent application, Buns. It lets you develop all the Web3 technologies by using no-code tools. So blockchain, NFT, DAO, DeFi application, and metaverse application, you can create without any knowledge of programming. There is certain elements of programming involved. Like, if you understand how Web3 works, that is essentially very good. But you need not understand that before creating this application. But a fundamental understanding always helps, right? So when you know how wallet works, how blockchain works, what is this technology, it will help you understand what the process of creation in no code Web3 application looks like. But even without that knowledge, you can build these kind of application using this particular tool. I have not tried it, but I will try it soon. Machine learning application, TensorFlow, right? So in machine learning world, TensorFlow is the king of the machine learning pre-built applications or pre-built libraries, right? And TensorFlow has it is Google's official app, Teachable Machine, in which you visually drag and drop and build the machine learning algorithm and connect it with a database, and it gives you the result which you desire, right? It is teachable. It is only limited to two or three kinds of TensorFlow libraries for now, but it is going to expand soon, as you can check that out in its documentation, right? It is currently underdeveloped or underbuilt project, and it is developing soon, right? And I lied. You cannot build a quantum computing application yet on no code tool, but TensorFlow Quantum is a library of hybrid quantum classical machine learning, right? So in that TensorFlow libraries, you have one library which deals with quantum computing, and when this teachable machine includes that library in its portfolio, essentially you will be able to program a quantum computing application by using this particular application, which is essentially a no-code tool. And in theory, you can program a quantum computing application by using no-code tool. That is what I was trying to achieve by saying that you can also do quantum programming by using no-code tool. All right, no quantum, of source, but it is what it is. With time, it will develop, and the no-code landscape has risen very rapidly during the past years. Uh, Recently, I was building for my friend a Razorpay website where we can get money and do transactions. Right, he can accept money, and Razorpay in its Razorpay pages. It is a product by Razorpay, and there they quote that application as a no-code tool. So no-code space is growing rapidly. Many companies are adopting to it, and it is essentially but an abstraction. Like abstraction, you understand? Like, instead of using APIs which the developers can use to build application, they are giving a blank canvas and letting anyone build application by using drag and drop feature, right? So that's it, I guess. So how can you get started? Before that, I would like to, discuss on any of the things which you would like me to discuss out of all the slides I have shown till now. So let me go to from slide one, since we have no discussions yet. And after this, we will discuss
Yes,
how
sir.
you can get started. Yeah,
If you guys have any question, you can write in the chat box,
cool.
or you can directly ask by unmuting yourself.
तुम्हें अगर किसी स्लाइड में पर्टिकुलरली पिन करना है तो वो भी मैं कर सकता हूँ, राइट? सो बता देना।
Uh, Hello, I'm audible.
Yep.
Yeah, Bhaiya, I have a doubt. Like, if I am willing to make a chatbot,
Mm-hmm.
so what should my approach by no code?
I guess I should cover that part, that last bit of the slide, which talks about this particular question itself on how you can get started with no-code tool. Cool. Getting started. You need to understand what your needs are. That is the primary and the most crucial step, which almost everyone miss before diving into creating any application or any product for that matter, right? You need to begin with the end goal in mind. You need to understand that what you are going to achieve by building that particular application. And once you have your purpose ready, once you understand what you are trying to build, then you can go to Google and search for that particular purpose space no code tool. There will be many results coming up. Go with the first one. There is no rule that this is better than that. Some checks that it should be free or at least freemium to get started, right? The second one is it should have a great documentation, and the third one is it is better that it should have a community of no code developers around it, so you can get your doubts clear very well, right? For that, most of the no code tools and most of the tools in general, even the software tools, are having channels on Discord. So like, it is a recent incident with me. Like, I was building a blog, and this is a very recent technologies. It is called mm it is called some stack, I forgot that name. And that support or that developer who built that tool was available on Discord. He has his own community. So I discussed my problem with him in person, and he solved every problem, and he got my website running. So you need to understand that there is no perfect tool, right? Every tool will change. If you do not remember, I think I also do not remember. There was one website called Blogger. It was by Google, right? And it functioned as a blog post website. Nobody knows that website now, and it was a Google's project. And even if Google's project can fail, today we know Medium, right? If and Blogger was before that, and Blogger failed, and Medium came into picture. And you never know which technology will fail tomorrow. So do not associate yourself heavily with any technology or any tool. Just learn how to be fluid with your approach and switch to different technologies. And the fun thing is, when you start, let's say you are creating a bot for doing a messaging service, right? You start by creating a simple application, right? Let's say Telegram bot. It is very easy to create. You search, you see a YouTube video, replicate that, and when you build other time, it will be a very fluid approach to you as well. You will start very very soon, and you will get your things done very very soon, and then you can switch by using other application, and that will also be a really fluid process. So the main hindrance is starting. When you start and build your first application, the next application will take very very less time, right? Second thing is, be aware of the tools and feature. Like, you need to constantly update your understanding about what the current scenario of the software stack is. There are some websites called one of them is Product Hunt, the second one is Product Stack, or like something like that. And get yourself, follow those pages on Twitter. You will see new features coming up and old features deboarding, etc. You need to be aware of what the current scenario of that particular tool is, right? And have a builder's mindset. By builder's mindset, I mean, you can create and you can also disrupt. Be okay with disrupting stacks, right? If you have built a website and it does not work, do not stick with that website. Switch as fast as you can. The one of the feature of no code is it can be built in a very short period of time. So it happened just a few days back. We launched Pelu Club using Notion, right? And it broke the next day when it was live. It took less than 3 hours to switch the complete stack to Google Sites, and it was running on Google Site by the evening. Right. So you need to have that builder's mindset that if the things do not work out, you have option B ready, and you do not hesitate to destroy things and build another stack. Right. So these things you should keep in mind before getting started with no code. So it is very much like a child's approach to playing with toys. Uh, the child does not cling towards one toy, right? If the new toy comes, he is more excited to trying new toys, right? And you should have that mindset with tools, no code tools. Today Canva is a great tool for photo editing, or not photo editing but designing. But tomorrow any new tool might come up, right? And you should have a fluid mindset to switch tools and experiment with that tool and have a builder's mindset. So with these three things, you can get started by with using Notion, not no code tools, and create stuffs. Right, that is my advice. Your kids, and you need to be kids to be having these qualities. These are the qualities of kids, right? Not understanding your needs, but the second two qualities are essentially of children, right? They are aware of all the toys coming in the market. They are aware of all the pencil box which their friends have, right? And once they know that the other pencil box is better than their pencil box, they demand for the next pencil box, right? And you should have that mindset with tools you are using. uh, cool, that is very like I want to end this slide with this. So yeah, that's that. It was a short session, and I thought that it will take around 1 hour, but we are 10 minutes early. So that's okay.
Okay, so if anyone have any question, they can ask now.
Will the session recording get uploaded to YouTube? I don't know about SCS, but I might upload.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah. So one thing I would like to add before we start the Q&A session. So I am posting the feedback form in the chat box. So you can give your feedback here and ask the questions.
sure. Before I stop presenting my screen, I need to, get the last slide of it covered. Principles I follow, not necessarily in no code tools, but it will help you when you start going ahead and you advance your understanding with no code and creating things with no code, right? Being happy is greater than being perfect, right? If, like, let's say if you are building a website, right, and your website name is something like uh, divyanshgupta.notion.site, and you have created that website in Notion. Everything is perfect, uh, like almost perfect, but that .notion.site is not perfect. That part is, sticking with you, and you are not finding your happiness because that particular thing is not perfect, right? But for that being perfect, you need to buy a domain name, right? And if you buy domain name, you will spend some money, and that will make you less happier if you spend money unnecessarily, right? So you do not need not have that perfection, right? Go away with that perfection, let it go away. Be happy first. If your design is slightly less perfect, but you are happy with it, go ahead with your design, right? That is one of the principle I follow in no code, especially in my life in general. Conscious, curious, and confident. You need to be confident to destroy things. Like destroying things needs confidence. You need to be curious about knowing all the no code tools, and you need to be conscious of all the features that your current stack has. And
भैया की
the third,
स्लाइड स्लाइड नहीं विजिबल है, वो वी किड्स वाली स्लाइड
अच्छा,
है।
कोई बात नहीं, ये ज्ञान ही था वैसे, लाइट है। तो थर्ड थिंग इज can do is not should do, right? If you can, like, this is like, do not overwhelm yourself with too many projects, right? Just because you can create web3 application does not mean you should create web3 application. Everything has a time. You need to allocate time as well as energy, as well as resources to it. So if you are comfortable with investing your time and energy, then only go for new projects, right? You can create something does not mean you should create it, right? That is the third principle which I follow. The slides will be shared to you as well, so no worries in that. And the third and the in the speakers note section, you will find all the relevant links of the information which I have shared, right? So you can check that out if you want. Sure, 40
Yes,
minutes up.
किसी ने पूछा है which no code you mentioned for ML.
ML. Uh, like there are plenty of application from Microsoft. There is one application called AutoML. It gets your job done. You need to first understand what your purpose is. So let me just stop sharing my screen. है ना, खत्म हो गया ना मेरा शेयर स्क्रीन नहीं है अब, cool. So for ML you need to understand what your purpose is. If it is very simple purpose, like you need to understand, like, and one more myth: no code is not coding. You need to at least know the fundamentals of it before you dive into no code. It does not mean you do not know coding, right? It is a great myth. And at least you should know how stack works, right? At least you should understand how things are built with code. Foundational understanding, not the complex. You need not know React to get started with no code, but at least you should know how HTML, CSS works, and JavaScript. With that, before you start your ML journey with no code, you should understand what the foundations of ML are, what the basic tenets, the basic principles are of machine learning, and one of that is regression, right? And if your project requires regression kind of thing, go with AutoML by Microsoft. It gets the job done. And if you are going with like any advanced of let's say image detection, etc., right? And so you can use Teachable by Google, and there are some more other tools as well. So first understand what your purpose is, then Google that out, and you will get the list of tools. See if it is free, if there are great documentation there, and if these tools are in your checklist, then proceed with that application. Cool. Any other doubt? Understood. पुलकित, तुम्हें कोई डाउट है? पुलकित
मुझे तो
चला
सब
गया?
क्लैरिटी है, तुम्हारे बोलती सब क्लैरिटी हो जाती है।
हाँ हाँ, उड़ा लो भाई
अच्छा,
मजाक, यहाँ पे भी उड़ा लो।
एक डाउट था, चल मेरे को ये था, जैसे तूने कभी पेमेंट गेटवे को इंटीग्रेट किया है कभी नो कोड में?
सो ये सब concepts of no code है. Basically, there is something called embedding, right? You embed in your website or any other place some other external sources. So एक तो वैसे कर सकते हो. Razorpay has many options. You can create pages in Razorpay itself, right? You can create buttons in Razorpay, right? कि इस बटन को क्लिक करने पे एक पॉपअप क्रिएट हो जाएगा एंड वहां पे वो पेमेंट अपने डिटेल्स दे सकता है. So when you create that button, you will Razorpay generates an embed code and gives you, like, if you want to embed it anywhere, you embed that code. And Google Sites, Notion, and many other tools are having this feature to accept those embed code in their pages, right? And you can use Razorpay to create buttons, and you can export that code, right? It will generate the code for you, Razorpay, and you can copy paste that code in your system, either website or Notion page, etc., and it will get the job done.
या किसी ने पूछा है from where to know deep about no
सही है।
code.
Where to know? नहीं, it is just like asking a child where to know deep about toys. You have to tinker and play with it. जितना ज्यादा खेलोगे तुम नो कोड से, उतना ज्यादा समझ में आएगा तुम्हें कि हाँ ये अच्छा है, वो अच्छा है, ये कर सकते हैं, वो कर सकते हैं. इट इज जस्ट लाइक प्लेइंग विद टॉयज, राइट?
मतलब लाइक कोर्स कोई नहीं है इसके रिलेटेड.
मत करो यार. मतलब कर सकते हो, बट there is no course like take no code as toy, right? There is no course on playing with toys. बच्चे ऐसे ही खेल लेते हैं, एंड तुम ऐसे ही नो कोड सीखो. वही, दैट इज द बेस्ट माइंडसेट टू गो अहेड विद नो कोड. कूल. बट
हाँ,
कोर्सेज से याद आया, जस्ट 1 मिनट. कोर्सेज से याद आया कि मैं ऐसा कुछ प्लान कर रहा हूँ कि आई विल क्रिएट अ 2 week प्लान इन विच एवरीवन विल टिंकर एंड प्ले विथ नो कोड टूल. इट विल नॉट बी अ कोर्स, इट विल बी मोर ऑफ एन एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग काइंड ऑफ जर्नी. सो स्टे ट्यून्ड. बैकग्राउंड में वेलू क्लब है, उस वेबसाइट पे जाना, वहाँ पे मिल जाएगा तुम्हें इन्फॉर्मेशन, राइट? सो या
Promos and flyers.
हाँ ठीक है, कूल.
I had one question, like how
Yeah.
long did it take you to master no code?
सो अच्छा, अपने बारे में मैंने तो बहुत कम बताया यहाँ पे. सो लाइक आई यूज टू टिंकर विद टूल्स इवन बिफोर दिस नो कोड टर्म वाज वेरी फैंसी, राइट? आई यूज टू टिंकर विद टूल from when I got internet in my laptop. I used to tinker with many tools, right? And and it became a second hobby to me. If I'll find some website which offers some services, some products which is free, I'll tinker with that. And with stage, I understood many of the computer science concept by using these tools, APIs, networking, etc. Everything was covered from here. But I didn't like coding per se, competitive coding. So I was hesitant in pursuing my career there, right? It was more of a product mindset which I developed, and luckily I landed in a product job, and I'm very happy with it. And so as मुझे timeline याद नहीं है, but I discovered this that I am associated with no code very recently. जब ओयो में internship कर रहा था, right? Then they required something to be built for their internal team, right? And I said कि ये तो इस वाले tool से बन सकता है. And I went ahead with it. I created that workflow for them, and it was essentially the first big no code project which I did. And then I realized that it can be very helpful if like उन्हें पता नहीं, बहुत सिंपल सा चीज था, but they didn't know how to do it. So like it was back in my mind from then itself. आज से 2 साल पहले कह रहा हूँ कि नहीं, 1 साल पहले कह रहा हूँ. कितना साल हो गया पुलकित ओके के इंडियन को? तो तब से यही है कि एक ऐसा करना था, एक ऐसा बनाना था प्लेटफॉर्म जिसमें लोगों को मैं शेयर कर पाऊँ कि कैसे वो नो कोड टूल, सॉरी हिंदी में सोच हो गया. सो आई वाज विलिंग टू क्रिएट अ प्लेटफॉर्म in which anyone can come and experience the power of no code and create tools which can either they can create a career like a side hustle with that, or just for fun, just for playing with no code tools, just for the sake of playing, right? So then I created Pelu Club with Anchal. He had some plans with data science, and we said that ठीक है, अपना अपना circle बनाकर mentorship करेंगे, and it was like that. So we created Pelu Club, and I started no code consultancy formally. My first few consultants were my friends of simple websites and छोटे छोटे चीजें. And अभी मैं उतने ही मतलब वहाँ पे pause कर दिया हूँ because I'm heavily devoting my time to Pelu Club. बोल के तुम भी आ जाना कुछ बताने के लिए वहां पे, नहीं एनालिटिक्स का सर्कल खोलो, लोग तुमसे ज्ञान
Yeah.
लेंगे.
I am coming there as a learner. I have already joined the product group as learning.
अच्छा अच्छा.
I have got a 7-week plan for masterclass.
one week APM, how to prepare for product management, just that. हाँ
Although I couldn't attend the classes, I'm not as regular as I'm in academics.
कोई बात नहीं. श्योर. सो इफ यू आर इंटरेस्टेड, अच्छा एक और डिस्क्लेमर दे ही देता हूँ, ठीक है? सॉरी यार, थैंक यू क्षितिज एंड दिव्यांश टू गिविंग मी दिस प्लेटफॉर्म. बट थोड़ा सा सेल्फ प्रमोशन और, कि अगर तुम इंटरेस्टेड हो मुझे हेल्प करने के लिए किसी भी तरीके से, shoot me an email, we'll club and do things together. Like मुझे अभी दो दो लाइव सेशंस मैं करता हूँ कैनवा पे एंड नोशन पे, एंड मैं पूरा दिन लगा देता हूँ इस पे, टाइम पता ही नहीं चला कैसे निकल गया. सो पहले मुझे लगा था यार पेल लेंगे अकेले सब हो जाएगा मैनेज, बट अब लग रहा है यार होना चाहिए था कोई एक टीम. सो आई एम बिल्डिंग अ टीम. इफ यू आर इंटरेस्टेड इन ज्वाइनिंग, मैसेज करना, लेट्स सी हाउ थिंग्स वर्क आउट. ठीक है, कूल. बस इतना ही बोलना था यार, सॉरी यार. ठीक है, कूल. आगे बढ़ते हैं.